Thank you very much, and thank you to Nicholas Reed and the team for having me here. And it's great to be back on the Gold Coast and see some great energy in the room. And it's great to see a disciplined group of people keeping to time as well. So I shall do the same and get you all off to morning tea in about 14 and a bit minutes. Delighted to be here to talk about Coda Minerals today. I'll draw your attention to the usual disclaimer. Look, over about the next 14 minutes or so, I hope to explain to you why we believe that Coda Minerals is indeed a rare investment opportunity, and also to hopefully convince you that if you're looking for leverage to copper and future minerals, then Coda Minerals should be a portion of your balanced portfolio. Our strategic focus is very simple. We believe that whatever your politics, the world is moving to a decarbonized future, and the supply of ethical sources of and reliable sources of copper, cobalt, and other battery minerals is integral to that future. We work in Tier 1 locations in the Gawler Craton in South Australia, the Olympic IOCG Copper Province, also the Mount Isa Inlier region of Queensland, two areas which I think are undoubtedly Tier 1 in an industry where that phrase is used too much. Part of the rare investment opportunity is the very strong asset base. Existing resources, over 1.1 million tonnes of contained copper equivalent now in primarily JORC indicated resources. A scoping study which is well advanced and we hope to deliver in the second part of this year. We're also committed to exploration. We have a significant IOCG discovery under our belt, multiple targets across our tenure, and very excitingly, and we just put out an announcement this morning, we will be commencing exploration drilling at our project in Queensland as well. So there's a lot happening in Coda Minerals. In terms of the corporate structure, it's very tight. No debt, no nasties, no convertible notes. We have a market cap of about 50 million. You won't meet many people who think they're undervalued, but I will explain why I believe a re-rate is coming. Fewer than 125 million shares on issue a year and a half after listing. And that's after completion of a landmark transaction to acquire 100% of our partners, Torrens Mining, who owned the other 30% of the Elizabeth Creek project. The chairman is a significant or substantial shareholder, over 5%. And you can see here we have a very solid asset base, 100% now of Elizabeth Creek in South Australia, up to 80% rights to earn in at Cameron River, and the Torrens gold assets which we've picked up, and to be frank, are very much non-core, but we're certainly looking at those as well. In terms of the board, I really enjoyed Don's speech, actually. I thought it was very enlightening, and I would like to think that this board measures up very well on most of these measures, if not all of them. Chairman Keith Jones, probably the best chairman, certainly one of the best bosses you could ever ask for. He gives so much and takes so little from this company. He's also put in significant amounts of his own money into the company. Former chair of Deloitte, very experienced corporate strategist, and I think that can be seen from our discipline and also the corporate activities that we've undertaken over the last year and a half. Colin, Robin, Paul, our technical directors, his track record of delivering projects, Gold Road Gruyere project for Robin, Paul Sandfire, FMG, Colin, PT Medeka, informally known as the Big Coal Copper Index, all of the copper companies that he is and has been involved with. I am not a rockstar CEO by a long stretch of the imagination. I'd rather keep in the office and do the work. I do, however, play upright bass in a jazz band, so maybe I qualify a little bit. Very strong corporate team. We work hard. We enjoy working together. Katrina, who isn't on this slide and really should be, is our senior economist. She's on the booth today and a font of knowledge for all things Coda as well, so please step by if you have time. I will not talk extensively to the copper market, but what I will say as a WA School of Mines trained mineral economist, and there are 3 WA School of Mines mineral economists out of a team of 7 in our office. We really look at this in the longer term. We believe that most people get the timeframes and elasticities of supply in the mineral markets fundamentally wrong. They look very short-term in spot prices. Copper is a fundamentally interesting commodity. It is a huge market. The supply deficit per annum alone, the forecast value of that deficit every year for the next 10 years is between 10 and 18 times the size of the globally traded lithium market. This is a huge market, moving into a massive period of undersupply. The EV story, I think, was told better than I can. I believe that we are moving towards EVs too, and this is a big part of the future as well. Whichever technology you look at, copper is a big part of that. Now, in terms of work over the last year and a half since we listed, and I'll confess it feels more like 5 years. I realize I don't look a day over my 25 years. And I think I had hair when this started. But the reality is we've done a lot of work over the last year and a half. We do work hard. We talked about lifestyle companies. Coda is a lifestyle company. It's just not a good lifestyle. But we enjoy what we're doing. We enjoy what we do, and we've got a lot done. We listed a year and a half ago with 70% exposure to 280 million tons of contained copper. I stand here today, just a year and a half later, with 100%. The company has 100% exposure to 1.1 million tons of contained copper equivalent in primarily JORC indicated resources. We've acquired Torrens Mining through an off-market all-scrip bid. We have acquired the right to earn up to 80% of the Cameron River project. We have delivered a maiden resource, 43 million tons at 1.84% at ATEMMIE Bluff. We have commenced and materially advanced, it's really getting very close to the end, a scoping study on that. And we've made an IOCG discovery in 18 months. We've also undertaken significant targeting work and exploration over the tenure. This, and I sort of apologize for this, but it's a very busy slide, but it really demonstrates the wealth of potential, the wealth of assets, the wealth of exploration at Elizabeth Creek. A mixture of sediment-hosted copper cobalt, so mineralization similar to what you find in the DRC and in the Zambian copper belt, and also the IOCG mineralization, iron oxide copper gold, which is the deeper mineralization for which this area is so famous. Primary focus here is the ATEMMIE system, and this is where it gets interesting. 2 deposits. We have tried, and we're going to throw the kitchen sink at this one today, to really try and explain the spatial relationship between these 2 deposits. Sediment-hosted, strata-bound, copper cobalt. It's a fancy way of saying it's a sliver of mineralization stuck between 2 different sandstones of a different age. Sitting there at 400 meters below the ground, 1.84% copper equivalent, 43 million tons. That's about 800,000 tons of contained copper in the one deposit. Laterally, it's huge. It's about the size of Kings Park in Perth, 4.5 square kilometers. Beneath it, and in some ways I wish they were further apart, but the ATEMMIE IOCG that tends to confuse people, this is the deeper IOCG mineralization that is a much earlier stage, but a much higher potential reward if we can crack the code with this one. So it's exciting exploration. Now I'm hoping, oh, this worked. I tend to avoid videos. This is a 3D way of trying to explain what these look like. So this is ATEMMIE Bluff. This is the more advanced deposit that we are advancing a scoping study on. We're in the final stages of mine design at the moment. Underneath the iron oxide copper gold. These are probably, almost certainly part of the same system, and what they really demonstrate is the richness of copper here within this system. How they fit together remains to be seen, and what I'll explain just very briefly here is the exploration model for the IOCG. We hit something pretty spectacular in June. That's led to a really exciting year, challenging, just the gift that keeps on almost giving. And so we've found multiple conduits here. It's deep, it's 800 meters below the ground, sitting about 500 meters offset from the shallower copper cobalt mineralization. There's some pretty good intercepts here, 69 meters at 1.5% over 2 lodes. There's a couple well over 3%, 10, 13, 15 meters over 3% in there. We believe there's a major structure that is capable, only a major structure could be capable, in my opinion, of bringing this much copper into a system. We have to find it. It's deep drilling, it's expensive drilling. We've currently paused. We've really demonstrated 3 areas of mineralization here, 2 of which are drilled back to be the higher grade bornite. And we're going to go to geophysics. We're going to look into this, we're going to look underground, we're going to use some modern advanced techniques. We've just found an incredible team of geophysicists to do this work with us. And we're excited to look, and now we've got enough drilling, we can triangulate against this. If we can crack the code, This is going to be huge. This area is capable of kicking up massive IOCGs. Carapatina just next door. Yes, Don, I know neurology. However, we do have the demonstrated intercepts here as well, and multiple other IOCG deposits. Main focus, delivering the study at ATEMMIE Bluff. This is a large resource. This is a large area. This is significant grade. It's 400 meters underground, which is not deep by the standards of these deposits at these grades, and we're now advanced in our scoping study work. To level with you, I think the market has been a little bit confused by the IOCG versus the Zambian. I think the market has been very focused on the IOCG and the enormous blue sky potential, and to a large extent has passed by such a large resource. I also think that the study period is challenging due to what are mostly very reasonable ASX and ASIC rules about publishing financial results and scoping studies and forecasts. This tends to be a period that doesn't give itself to really beautiful, regular news flow. You've got to get it right. You deserve information which has reasonable basis. And the JORC code really does, to a large extent, deliver that, I believe. It does mean we can't dribble out information, unfortunately. So we are working on this. We are well advanced. I love this part of the work. It's really exciting. And watch this space because it is happening. And we're going to do a really thorough, good job of this, I promise you. So this is coming. Watch out for it second half of the year. 3 deposits, 2 open pit, 1 underground. I believe these fit together and make a very sensible and substantial whole. Moving quickly on to Cameron River. I always run out of time and I love talking about Cameron River. It's very exciting. We weren't looking for a new project. This came along. The owner was looking for sort of a dynamic team that tends to get things done. He came to us, and we now have the rights to earn up to 80% of this project. I could give you 20 slides in the next 40 minutes on talking about the wealth of targets over here. I promise not to. What I will say is that we released new information this morning. It's a sort of final piece in the puzzle of the targeting. The Mount Isa inlier region can trip up the wary literally with 30% rock chips. It's a supergene enrichment that sits at the surface, and you can see some very beautiful geochemical samples. We have taken hundreds of soil samples, hundreds and hundreds, rock chips, and we have run multiple IP studies. And really, it's the IP that drives discovery in this region. It's driven other discoveries in Queensland region. And normally with the geophysics, I'll say, don't look at the red blobs, they're misleading. In this case, we have released this morning a massive chargeability conductivity anomalies here at the REBOUND prospect. This sits right under very high-grade rock chips, a magnetic low, which is generally good news. And again, you can see here, ultimately, geophysics is indicative, rock chips are indicative, lithostructural mapping is indicative. You've just got to put it all together, and then you've got to go and drill it. And drill it we shall be doing in August. I can see Chris looking at me there. Drilling is the ultimate test. We will be there in August, and we will be getting the news flow from here. So we're excited. I think we've done good science. We've done good work. We've been very careful in the way that we present this. And again, that's very much in our DNA as a company to underpromise, and we look to over-deliver. So we're looking at this in August. We're excited to be out there and drilling it. And I'll draw your attention to that announcement that went out this morning. So just in summary, why invest in Coda? I hope over the last sort of 12 minutes or so I've really explained, really conveyed the passion as well. We're a serious group of people. We believe very much in what we're doing. We have future-aligned minerals, copper and cobalt. The cobalt is a carolite. It's reasonably pleasant to process and very much analogous to the Zambian DRC copper belt. We have an environmental commitment, both where we work and to the wider decarbonisation theme. Strong foundations, good cash balance, 11.4 million at the last quarterly, 9.4 we put in our last announcement as our current balance. Highly experienced board, over 1 million tonnes of copper already in JORC, primarily indicated resources. Scoping study is coming. We love this part of the work, and we will be delivering this year. Proven success, we've had some great exploration success. We've also demonstrated our ability to keep corporate matters tight and to do good corporate strategy. And we've demonstrated our commitment to exploration, which is ongoing and will drive news flow over the coming months. So with that, as I said, I hope you'll consider Coda as a part of your balanced portfolio, especially for exposure to that battery minerals and copper thematic. We will be at the booth. Come and see Katrina and myself if you have any questions. And thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 5 great stories. We've had copper in Victoria, lithium in WA, copper in South Australia, and now Queensland, rare earths in WA, and gold copper in WA. 5 great talks, and we thank them now in the usual fashion. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you back in here at 10:45 for the next session. Thank you very much.